Yo, what is up guys? Ghost here, welcome back to another video. In fact, if you're watching this one on YouTube, to everybody on stream, welcome in as well. Today I want to talk a little bit about what is happening with Battlefield 2042, because at the moment it is absolutely surpassing everybody's expectations. Everybody used to laugh at Battlefield 2042, and, you know, judging by the current player numbers and how many copies of the game they're selling on Steam, nobody is really laughing now. So I wanted to delve a little bit into that and what it actually maybe means for the game in terms of future seasons, future content, and all of that sort of stuff. Also, whether we're going to possibly see some improvements to the game more than we thought. We're going to get started on that in a second. As always guys, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content. We're going to be going over everything in Season 6. Also wanted to give you guys, you know, a special thank you, because over the past few weeks, it's been pretty rough during the Redux period. So if you're a new player before Season 6 launch, they had like a few weeks of, I don't want to use the words no real content, but basically they kind of rehashed out some older content, some older game modes, and the player numbers really plummeted down to like 3,000 players per day. It was pretty rough for the players. It was a rough time for content creators, and things they are starting to pick up now. So just wanted to say, you know, big thank you for the support there. Okay, so the player numbers, we're gonna, just to get you guys up to speed on what is actually happening here, I did take a couple of screenshots here yesterday. Well, first of all, let's take a look at the Steam charts right now, because this is kind of bananas. So this was 27 minutes ago. Actually, this was, let me just refresh the page here because I brought that up. Yeah, okay, it seems to have done it by itself. So we've got 37,000 players, but the free-to-play period ended here on the 16th of October. And I think it's fair to say that everybody assumed that these player numbers were going to plummet to maybe 10, 20,000 players. And I think this has even surprised DICE as well, because you can see that here yesterday, on Tuesday, they actually went up to 101,000, which is almost the same as the peak on the last free-to-play day. So that is pretty insane right there. Also want to show you guys here a screenshot I took yesterday of the Steam store for most sold games, and this is by revenue. Battlefield 2042 yesterday was in second place on Steam for the most revenue, and bear in mind here that the game is like $5.95, at least where I'm based in Iceland, and of course for the US and whoever else uses dollars, but there's probably a similar percentage of discount here around the world. And so that means that they're having to sell like 7+ copies of the game to get the same amount of revenue that FIFA 24 is getting here, landing in third place. For them to be in the second position here for this price, that means that a bunch of people have just bought the game. And, you know, judging by the Steam numbers, it seems like they've not only bought the game, but they're also playing the game. So with that said, I think we need to look into a little bit here what DICE's game plan is, because as I mentioned before, I think this surprised DICE as much as it did us. They have had one free-to-play period for Battlefield 2042 in the past, and I believe they hit about 36,000 players there. So, you know, for them to hit 100,000 now and also have this much retention after that free-to-play period is honestly wild and unexpected, I suppose. One thing I would like to see though is DICE start to capitalize on this opportunity with more content, because whilst they do have maybe a very solid player base at the moment of 95, maybe 100,000 people on Steam. And let's also remember that the game did go free to play, and I'm going to assume was also put on some sort of a discount for all of the consoles as well. So, you know, I think it's fair to say that the game has a pretty solid player base all overall here. But I would really like to see DICE capitalize and put some more content out, because at the moment as it stands, as far as I know, there isn't really anything major planned for the rest of the remaining, 14 weeks of Season 6. We've got a mid-season event somewhere down the line. There may be some Vault weapons coming, maybe not, but as far as we know, there isn't any sort of, you know, new map coming, like the same way we had the map reworks in the first 4 seasons of the game. And I think they really need some sort of solid content, because this shows that they've done a pretty good job of reworking the game and getting it back to a point where players are able to enjoy it again. And it's clear that there is a big Battlefield community who have been waiting on the sidelines and are now enjoying jumping back into 2042 again. So I'll be really, happy to see them put some sort of content out there. It also begs the question, I think, with the server browsers and the game modes and the playlists that we have in-game, are they going to expand that in any way? Because it seems that every week we've got either 128-player Conquest or 64-player Exodus Conquest, and whichever one of those playlists isn't there, the people who like those playlists start to get upset. I see it every single week. Last week it was like, why have they taken away 64-player Conquest? That's my jam. That's the game size that I like. And this week it's the opposite. As you're saying, Moon Jelly, why did they take out Conquest 128? Why can't they have both? So the reason that I've always assumed is behind why they don't have both all the time is a lack of players. There simply isn't enough players in the game, and they would be too thinned out, if you had too many playlists running. But judging by, I got to open up the Battlefield Communications Twitter account and show you guys this as well. So, bit of a segue here, but they just tweeted this out saying, "We are aware that some of you are currently unable to log into Battlefield 2042 due to server capacity messages. Demand is high right now, and we are working to improve this as soon as possible. Thank you for your patience." So there are so many people playing the game right now that the servers are getting overloaded. So if that is indeed the case, then hey, maybe we should just have two playlists, one for 64-player Conquest and one for 128, and then, whatever else you want to tack on there, like your redacted Conquest or what have you. I'm sure that DICE aren't, or EA rather, aren't unnecessarily running servers that they don't need. The game has just literally shot up from, I think the peak during Redux was about 6,000 players, and it's shot up to like 100,000 at peak. I would say the average now is anywhere between 25 to 40, 50,000 players. So I really think they're trying to weather the storm at the moment, activate servers as fast as they can. This also makes me wonder though whether we are going to see more seasons for the game. I think there are definitely arguments for and against to sort of back both of those end games there. I think this is another piece of evidence that perhaps points towards DICE saying, you know what, we do have a pretty good player base at the moment. Maybe we should put more content out for the game. And I guess it really depends what they planned for. As I said, I don't think they were really thinking they were going to get this many players from this free-to-play period or from this sale. So I guess the question is, have they already planned for more content? Because if they haven't planned for more content and their original plan was just to finish Season 6 and then can the game, that's not going to be good at all, because that's exactly what happened with Battlefield 5. They got the game in a decent place and then they were like, okay, it's over, guys. Sorry. But on the flip side, if they do decide to turn it around and say, okay, you know what? We've got a good player base. Maybe it is worth working on some more maps. Maybe it is worth putting out a Season 7 and a Season 8. And they aren't already planning for that from the get-go. Those seasons take at least a good few months to get ready. I don't know when they start working on a season in comparison to when it releases, but it's not like the 4 months that we see for the length of Season 6, essentially. If I had to guess, they're probably going to drop some sort of a little hint somewhere in the middle of Season 6, probably about what's coming to Season 6, like the mid-season event, and they may just sort of put in there hey, there's more content coming for the game. They may not call it a Season 7, it may not even be a full season, so I guess we'll see how that pans out there. In any case, guys, I will be interested to hear your thoughts on this down below as per usual. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching the video today. Special thank you to my members and Twitch subscribers for your additional support. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.